Hey guys, welcome back to Ghosts and Friends for the second time today. This time we got some friends, some familiar faces on the channel. Peyton, you've been a couple times. Keenan, second time back. Welcome, guys. How are we doing today?
Feeling great.
Feeling
Yeah,
great.
I would agree with Peyton on that one. Feeling pretty solid about Saturday.
Absolutely. Well, let's get right to it. Peyton, you were there. We're going to start with you. What was the atmosphere like in the big house? Let's start in the beginning. What was it like pre kickoff, even pre game, if you'd like, and then kind of how did it change throughout the process of the game?
Yeah, I mean, even starting Friday night, just we went out, had some fun, had some drinks, and I mean, the horns were everywhere. I was blown away. I was getting some texts on the way there. I was like, okay, there's a lot of us here, but whatever. And I got there and like they were infiltrating. And even just waking up. So then I didn't know this. I'm sorry, I'm not in the know, but I didn't know it was going to be a maze out until like the night before people were talking about it. And I was like, oh, is that going to drown out the orange? It didn't at all. Vibes were high. I was getting a little nervous like the morning of, watching College Game Day. They kind of were hyping up Michigan a little bit. They're like, oh, this is going to be a different team we've seen last week against Fresno State or whatever. And I'm like, but man, the horns, we'll first start with the fans. They were loud from the beginning to the very end. I mean, they were fantastic. And then, I mean, by halftime, after, that number 18 on the other team, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know your name, maybe Loveland or something. When he dropped it before halftime, and then we all went to the bathroom at halftime, they were like, what are that? I was like,
they felt pretty cooked after halftime.
Halftime was like pretty rough when we were going to get, like another beer. They were like, they were like defeated.
Yeah. I mean, they got their butts kicked in the first half. How about you, Keenan? As that game was playing out, especially the first half, what were your thoughts? What were your emotions, my man?
Well, I was not super surprised with how the game played out, right? Like I predicted a 31-14 score, I think. So I was pretty close, or 31-17, something like that. I watched that Michigan game in depth, and the Michigan Fresno game in depth, and I saw a lot of exploitable weaknesses for Texas. And that doesn't make me some football expert. That's just like I just saw some stuff that I was like, wow, a good quarterback can like eat this team alive. Like I realized they had Will Johnson, who's one of the best corners in the country. They have Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, who are two great defensive tackles. But I just saw a team that looked really exploitable, and that's exactly what Texas did. They exploited them. The receivers were able to get open at will, seemingly. They didn't run the ball super well, but that's a really tough team to run the ball against, given their defensive front. And then their offense, the Michigan offense, is just really not good, I don't think. I think the Texas defense is great. I'm not taking anything away from Texas, but
right.
After watching them play Fresno and score 23 points on offense against them, I was kind of like, okay, you know what? I think this Texas defense a lot faster than the Fresno defense. I think you could say that. Ton of speed everywhere, and that's what stuck out to me the most, the speed of the Texas defense at like every position. They're so fast.
You can tell that they really had zero respect for the Michigan passing game. We played in a box, and they were like, I dare you to try to beat us over the top, which is, if I was Michigan, I mean, I think I would have realized pretty quickly there wasn't a lot in the ground game. I would have taken some shots because Texas was going to play up tight, and they were going to eliminate anything with Alex Orgy. The second he came in, they bottled him up. But yeah, I mean, I think you said it really well. Their offense hurt a really good Michigan defense, or what can be a really good Michigan defense. They weren't particularly good on Saturday, but with that offense, that defense never had a chance. And my favorite thing about Quinn and how he played on Saturday was how he just didn't force anything. Because I think in the back of everyone's minds, we knew that if we could play neutral on the turnover battle, unless we just gave them a lot of free turnovers and free points rather, that, you know, our opportunities would be there, and he played clean. We didn't have to take these shots. We controlled everything about that football game from start to finish. And I mean, kind of a euphoric 3.5, 4 hour watch, you know. And as a Texas fan, we haven't had a ton of those where we go in and a lot of people expected us to kind of take it to them, and we don't always follow up on that. And this time we did in a big way. And you have to be, like you said, Keenan, there's a little bit of Michigan being bad in there that you have to look at for sure. If there's anyone in particular you give a game ball, you can do one on each side of the ball if you'd like. Who gets your game ball for Saturday?
On offense, it's got to be Quinn Ewers, man. I mean, he was slicing and dicing. He did, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm some expert or something, but like I did think he would do that. I was expecting them to be up big. The thing about it was, and I'll get to my game ball in a second on defense, but the thing that I saw was Michigan doesn't have the offense to come back from deficit. So if Texas jumps out to a 14-0 lead, they jump out to a 10-0 lead, it's probably church. And they jumped out to a 24-3 lead, and that was church. Defensively, man, I might have to give it to Andrew Makuba. I mean, that dude was all over the field. I mean, there were a couple plays where he came up from the secondary and got tackles for loss on screen plays. Like, just the closing speed he showed was so impressive. I was just really blown away with his play the whole time. I mean, he was a highly sought after transfer from Clemson. And just the way he played in that game was really impressive from a safety standpoint to come up and stop. Yeah, he had an interception too. I mean, I would probably give it to him on the defensive end. So, yeah.
I like it, man. What about you, Peyton?
Good. I'll do someone different, I guess, for my player of the game. I'll go Michael Taft. I think he did fantastic. And I guess I don't really say his name a lot. Well, I mean, we've only had 2 games, but you know what I mean, coming in the season. I thought he did fantastic. And then obviously I'll give the other half. I know I'm the same thing, but Quinn, I mean, he's great. And I, as a Texas fan, I've always been a little nervous in the past couple of years of red zone. And I don't know what Sark said this morning at his press conference, but like 10 of the 11 or something like that. It makes your Longhorn feel really good. And I'm not going to lie, I, for once in my life, not once, but a while, not scared of the third down. I was like, you know, a couple times, you know, we have Quinn, you know, he's not, you know, he'll throw it down and we'll go, yeah, I could punt her out, whatever. We were really, third down conversions were fantastic, even right out of the gate. I rewatched the game this morning because I was there, so I was like, I got to see this on TV. And, like, I think the first drive, Quinn went on, like, a 3rd and 7 and used it and got it. Or something. Was that correct? Yeah, and he got it for us. And I was like, all right, that just, like, kind of set the tone for me. So.
No, I mean, you know, obviously Quinn definitely deserves a game ball in there. I don't disagree with either of those. It's like, yeah, I think Peyton is 3rd and 13, and I was kind of like, oh, crap. The first 2 plays we have are negative plays. I was a little bit like, just don't turn the ball over here. I don't care if we punt. Just don't turn the ball over here. And instead he hits Isaiah Bond for 33 yards down the right side, and all of a sudden you could feel like, okay. And they got comfortable, and they got comfortable really, really quickly. Let's get the chat in here. My bad. There they are. And so, you know, they got comfy, and they got comfy really quickly, and just absolutely took it to a Michigan team nonstop for that first half in particular. I mean, they didn't let up offensively or defensively. I loved what Makuba did, particularly on Colston Loveland. He seemed to really kind of bother that guy. One great catch for Colston, I want to say in like the 3rd quarter maybe, where he kind of tip drilled it and came away with it. Makuba was in excellent position right there. I mean, 10 out of 10, balled it and bounced the right way. So, yeah, Makuba definitely deserves one on the defensive side. That's who I was going to give mine to. I like Makuba there. I thought that, you know, Davey Bemba played a great game. Colin Simmons, low-key, you know, affected the game a little more than, you know, maybe the stat sheet shows. That dude is going to be a monster. Going to be a ton of fun. Just unbelievable times right now when you're looking at the veteran talent and experience that we have, and then the upcoming youth, and some of these guys already being game ready, and then being able to learn from some of these really, really, really good veterans. And so it's crazy times. On offense, I'm going to go with Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm balled out, baby. He was huge in that first half, helped move the chain some. It wasn't just, you know, like we're taking deep shots to him. He did have the touchdown for, 22 yards or so. But which was a pass over 10 yards. That Michigan cat said the guy that made the comment about Texas scoring 10 or less points, he doubled down today and was saying that Texas looked okay, but it was more about Michigan being bad and that Quinn didn't do much to impress him. Didn't throw the ball down.
Okay.
Didn't throw the ball downfield further than 10 yards. So, like we just said, he had Isaiah Bond for 33 yards on the first drive. He had a 22-yard touchdown. We also have the borderline phantom holding call that negated DeAndre Moore's touchdown in the first quarter as well. I know a lot of Texas fans are mad about that. I thought it was 50-50. But when you play in the Big 12 like we have for the last, couple of decades and gotten the non-calls that we've got over the last few years, I don't know what the hell holding is anymore. But good thing it didn't matter, So I'm going Gunnar Helm. I thought he was huge, massive. I was a little worried that we didn't have the tight end play to kind of maybe exploit Michigan. Some of the way that we exploited Alabama last year with Jatavian Sanders. He was so big in that week 2 win.
Yep.
Gunnar balled. He absolutely went in, and I love to see that. And I hope that gives him and the rest of the offense, more confidence in him that he can get things done. He had the big touchdown against Oklahoma on the 4th down last year. He's shown that he can play, and so I'm also going Andrew Makuba and then Gunnar Helm on the offensive side of the ball. But you can't pick a wrong player. Matthew Golden had a good game. I mean, there's little things like blocking on the some of the Jaden Blue swing pass that got real free. I mean, were y'all nervous when Jaden Blue was hobbling? Peyton, could you see that from the stands?
No, I didn't know. I actually had no idea and no service in the game, so I had no idea that something was wrong with his ankle.
Keenan,
yeah, I was at a watch party with 30 people, and everyone was just like, ah! It was tough, dude. It was not great, but I mean, thank God it was something minor at least. I'm not. It's a water. There's nothing cool about chugging water.
Kyle, I'm like you, man. When Jaden Blue was hobbling, I had to stand up and do some laps in the living room. Like I was, my breathing changed. I was already. I think Nash posted his heart rate during the game, and I was like, dude, that is exactly how I was. Because from 10 to leading up, you're pretty nervous, and then 11 to 12, you're like your game's going. You want to know how it is. His was up high, and then after halftime, it chilled all out. And I was that same way, but when Jaden went down, I mean, I was not just thinking about that particular game. Obviously, you're thinking about down the line. It's like, how do we do this? We are literally going to have to, Reagan Huggins is going to have to come out of the stands and play running back for us. We're getting low on bodies, and so I was definitely freaking out a little bit. Great point, Nash. Gibson is a dog. What are your early thoughts on Jared Gibson, Mr. Keenan?
Yeah, I was talking a lot about him in the offseason right after Christian Clark, when Christian Clark and Baxter went down, just because Gibson was super productive at IMG Academy in Florida. And he ran, I think, a 4.43 40 and has a 41-inch vertical, and he weighs 210. He's just like a bowling ball. He's not a 225-pound back like you kind of want, but he's a 210, might be pushing 215 at this point. He's a power back, but he's got speed. He's a very balanced running back. That's something they've needed as far as somebody who can run between the tackles after losing Baxter. Is super important player and a guy that I've been hyped on all year. Even going into the season, I was really hyped on him. But the whole running back crew, they didn't break any huge runs outside of the Wingo had the 55-yarder, but that was an end around. But they were solid enough to move, keep the chains moving to the point where you can run RPO stuff, and that's what was important for the running backs, I think.
I really liked, the fact that we didn't have to just take a lot of shots, and we just like you're saying, we controlled it. We were so good in the RPO game, and just kind of taking what was there and what they gave us, and letting our athletes just make plays in space. Jaden Blue absolutely left Jair Hill. I mean, he sent him back to Kankakee, Illinois, where he's from, and he left him on that juke, which, none of us can tackle Jaden Blue. So, I'm not knocking the kid too much. I'd look a lot worse. But even Gunnar Helm, like I was talking about earlier, he had some catch and runs that were big as far as moving the sticks. Overall, there's is there anything to complain about? Anything whatsoever from this?
First of all, Matthew Golden's visor is
that is tough. So
I just saw on the comments. I'm like, what?
Wow, I haven't even seen that. That is, that's pretty tough. But I don't have anything.
I don't know. I think we did great.
we didn't try to run the ball up the middle a ton, and so like just because we don't have yards there, like I mean, like we'll worry about that at a later date. We ran the ball well to the outside when we needed to. Gibson's touchdown run was great. No throws down, 10 plus yards down the field.
What is he talking about? Like the first throw of the game was like a 30-yarder to Isaiah Bond, and it was in between coverage. I don't understand how that guy could say that.
It was tough because he went, he set it with his chest, and then he stood on it over and over again all week long that we wouldn't score 10 points. And then today it was, hey, we didn't impress him. We didn't throw the ball, and we didn't have to. There was no need to do so. Why show any concepts about breaking anybody free with all these speedy little receivers that they were a stepping stone, and we didn't have to tip our hand in any way, shape, or form.
I think that's the thing. And like what people were saying, like, oh, we should have ran the ball, we should have run it up more or whatever. It's like, this is a new era. This isn't the BCS era where style points are that important, right? Like, it's nice to get that big win, but like, it's not like Texas is going to miss the playoff because they didn't score 40 points. Like, they went in there, they beat them soundly, and that's what's important. They avoided injury. That's what's important. And it's not a conference game either. And so, like, at this point with 12 playoff spots, it really doesn't matter how much you win by. You just got to win all your games.
I don't know if Buzz, which comment got stolen.
No,
but
Buzz, I'm giving you credit.
She was giving you credit.
You were seeing on it, and I wanted to go check it out.
The fact that your name is Buzz McAllister and you called someone a trout sniffer, you're a hero in my book.
McAllister, credit.
Peyton's innocent, Buzz. Take it back. But no,
take it back.
Take it back. Yeah, I mean,
until now.
It's funny when you talk about the way that people were like, oh, they're too physical, they're going to blow us around, and then we go do that, and then Buddy still doesn't want to give us any credit, and he said it was more about Michigan being bad, which there is a part of that, yes, which Keenan, we've all said it, absolutely, but to still not give Quinn any credit for the masterful handling of the RPO game, to not give Sark any credit for what he does schematically, I mean, it's not like, we're just taking our time, chilling, moving the ball down the field. And I mean, like, they really didn't have a lot of negative plays after those first couple on the first series of the game. And, they're a good defense with great defensive tackles, and they made a couple stops in the run game, but like 0 sacks? You tell me we have 0 sacks before that game? I would have had a hard time believing it, even though I love our offensive line. They're an aggressive defense. There's literally no way that gentleman believes any of that. I mean, we didn't have to throw the ball deep. We didn't have to do much of anything. We could have played with just a defense and potentially won that game. Our defense might have scored on their own, like if they were on the field long enough.
Yeah, it felt that way. And like, I'll let you speak in a second, Peyton. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But what was interesting to me is like they talked all about this offseason with these quarterbacks and these receivers, but like this team out-physicaled Michigan the whole time. Just whipped their ass physically. And that's what I think is the most important takeaway from this.
Did we really have a sack given up? Damn it.
Just one, but it was for like 2 yards.
Okay. All right. My bad, guys. I was really excited. I thought we didn't.
The whole line was like, I don't know. What was that one play that like Quinn went down or whatever, and then our guy came in and was like, and there was a little bit of fight.
Oh, when he took a knee. Yeah, when he kind of
took a knee. Yeah.
It's great to see that because last year there was a lot of talk during the Oklahoma game when Ethan Downs got all in Quinn's face. And I mean, let's be honest, that probably should have been flagged at the time. I'm not trying to be soft. It's just, it was a little over the top for what you see in college ball without getting a flag. But there was a lot of people talking and making comments, particularly Sooners, who were, hey, the O-line didn't come to Quinn's back. And I mean, I was kind of like, dang, they didn't really jump in Ethan Downs' face. They didn't really jump up. I don't know who else was in that picture there for OU. But I was so excited to see the O-line just, hey, nuck if you buck. We're ready. We don't care about a flag. Let's box. Let's awesome. Box. And so, I mean, that's great to see. Good point bringing that up. It definitely seems like a very cohesive unit. Everybody seems very, I hate to use the word aligned, but it feels very together. And not much to complain about that, but we'll try to you can say positive things forever about that game because there's a lot of different players that contributed. There's a lot of different things that went good. My guy Burt missed a field goal. I hate that he, I expect perfection out of Burt.
I mean, like, obviously, hindsight's 20/20. But it is it is the beginning of the game, and you're like, oh, which way is this gonna go? And I was like, come on, man.
A lengthy attempt as well. And to make it worse, the Mays out, like 52, I think. What with the Mays out, like
poor little guy.
I think an Aggie tweeted and was like, I can't see the goalposts either. And I was like, I mean, they do blend in really, really well. He's one of my favorites, if not my favorite. So and he knows this. I tell him on Twitter all the time. He's got to make everything. We got. So that's the only complaint we have is one missed field goal, maybe a couple of false start penalties. Got to clean that up at some point. Real quick, before we go, I want to talk a little more about y'all's kind of expectations going forward. Have y'all watched much of Oklahoma? Have either of you
watched the whole game?
What the heck is Oklahoma's doing on offense? What are your thoughts? I mean, I have a ton. I'll let you guys go.
No, yeah, I don't know. I just watched the Houston game. I don't know. I was cheering for Houston. I'm from Houston, so
yeah.
I'm from Houston, definitely rooting.
You know, they talk a lot about how Jackson Arnold can't throw the ball. They can't run the ball. They can't run the ball at all. They had like 23 carries for 75 yards or something like that. Like they cannot run the ball. That offensive line, they played Tennessee in 2 weeks. They're going to get lit up because that Tennessee defense is for real. That defensive front that Tennessee had, they had 13 tackles for loss against NC State on Saturday. So I don't know what the hell OU is going to do trying to block that front with Keenan Peely and with James Pierce and with all these athletes that they have running around out there. That's not even to mention their guys on offense, but just I don't understand how OU's offense is going to operate in the SEC. They play a ridiculously difficult schedule. Like somebody's wife at the SEC office got hit on by somebody at OU because like it was not a good look. Like they're going to get it's going to be really tough in Norman this year, I think. And I said that going into the year that you can't microwave an offensive line, right? Like you have to build that through high school recruiting. Yep. They're starting to do that with Michael Fasusi. Like that's a big recruit, but like that guy doesn't get there till next year, man. You got to deal with what you have right now. And it's not looking great for OU on the offensive end. The defense is legit. The offense is not good.
For Nash's sake, I do hope Texas beats the brakes off Oklahoma. I will agree with you about Tennessee. I think they are in a world of pain when it comes to that first SEC opener that they're going to have at home, night kickoff. Don't see it going very well. You can't improve that offensive line, that lack of running game, or Jackson Arnold in this short amount of time. So yeah. I agree with you. I was pretty shocked, to be honest, but knowing that you have a defensive-minded head coach and Jeff Lebby's gone, I probably did expect a good bit of drop-off. I thought they were pretty good offensively last year when they were healthy. But, man, they fell off the face of the earth. And I understand that this will be, we can go back to this and they can rub this in our face if anyone ever sees it. But my only question with them is like which UT beats them by more right now, because like we're both coming to take down the old Sooner Schooner in a big way, and that's about as nice a way as I can say it. I know that
they're all over social media though. They're all up in my Michigan posts. They're all up in there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm nice to Sooner and Aggies for the most part. There's a good bit of them I get along with, but at the same time, I'm going to be very honest about my thoughts with their football team this fall, and they're not going to like them because I think they stink so bad on offense that it's going to hurt that really good defense to a point, I mean, and part of it's tough luck too. They've had a ton of injuries at wide receiver already, and you never wish injuries on a kid. No. But that's not all of it. You know what I mean? Like you said, there's a lot more to that. Scheme doesn't look great. O-line doesn't look good. Quarterback doesn't look good. I wish we played them tomorrow,
Yeah, and the other thing with OU too is like, again, like I said, like Jackson Arnold is struggling, but like they're not going to be able to open things up at all because they can't run the ball at all. Like that offensive line is really bad, and like, man, I mean, this could totally come back to bite us in the ass, and if they somehow win, because we know, I remember when I was a student in 2013, Peyton, you'll remember this. When we somehow upset OU when Texas was terrible. I mean, terrible. They beat Baker Mayfield. I think it was 2013 or 20. Yeah. Hilarious win over a team that they had no business beating at all. And that can happen in that game. So like I'm not taking laps yet, like matches. I'm still nervous as hell just because I'm so tired of losing to that team. Like I can't tell you how tired I am of losing to that team.
Agreed.
4 for the last 15. That's just disgusting. That makes me sick to my stomach. So hopefully they can get over the hump this year because you don't want to fall into that 1-3 category with Sark, man. That's not exactly what you want.
No, there'd be a lot of heat,
2015, yeah. 2015.
Well, I mean, we beat them both years, right? Or no?
Yeah, we beat them in 13 as well.
13
I remember
for
beating
sure.
them in 13 for sure because I was at the fair.
I'm 50% from my college year. That's all I'm like. I'm good, but
that was
not.
That was the gold accented jerseys was 2013.
Yeah,
I believe.
that's right.
Max last OU game.
Yeah. We beat Baker for my freshman year. Yeah.
And then 2015 or 16 would have been Charlie's win over them.
Yeah, he got
Gerard Hurd. We threw the ball like 8 times. Gerard Hurd and Foreman. But yeah, I get it, Keenan. I get why you don't take that game lightly. That's normally my mentality with any rivalry game, not just Texas and Oklahoma, Texas and A&M, other big rivalries around the country. But I got uber faith in Sark and Quinn right now, and this particular attitude that Texas seems to have. We'll see what they look like against UTSA. Big win on the road. You met expectations. Everybody all week long is telling you how damn good you are. What do we come out with the same sense of urgency and assertiveness kind of that we had the last couple of weeks. So we'll see what we look like. But then again, UTSA, they just got shit housed by the old Bobcats of Texas State. Oh my God.
DJ Kenny, man.
Vegas had Texas State favored by 2.5 or 3 points, and they took them down by 45? Was it 48-3 or did
it was 49-10 was the final.
Okay, so late touchdown. Yeah, at one point
State in the house, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and GJ knows his stuff, but I mean that I didn't expect that out of UTSA, and so I'm sure they'll come out a little more motivated. A great chance for their program to prove a little something, and they got up on us. 10 points 2 years ago in 2022.
Yeah, I was at that game. Yeah.
They couldn't hold up against our ground game, thankfully, but still way more of a scare than it should have been, and I don't think we'll see that same effort out of UTSA. I don't know. Just a lot of confidence. I like where we're at as a team right now. But then again, hey, Mississippi State, when they come to town, I'll probably be back to being glass half empty, 50-50 to win. Crazy things happen.
They got waxed by Arizona State this weekend.
Dude,
Arizona State was picked to finish last in the Big 12 this year.
What's Buddy's name? Cam Scattaboo just ran all up and down Arizona State. I think he had like 280, 270, something crazy. That back for Arizona State. He tore them up. I stayed up late watching that one. Yeah, you're right. I mean, 2 different teams. The way we've recruited and the way that we've developed is, the big difference in the Texas program at the moment because Charlie recruited okay at certain positions. The development wasn't there. Then obviously didn't have a ton of time. Same for Tom Herman. Plus, he's a bonehead. A lot of reasons that didn't work out. But is there anything about Texas, the programs, or anything defensive line recruiting, the songs we played during the light show? Is there anything right now that you would change about this program?
I love that this is like our.
That's my one thing.
You don't like what we play during the light show?
I also don't.
I don't know. I haven't been there in a night game yet since this whole thing. I'm serious.
It's just Thunderstruck or Don't Stop Believing, right? I've heard those 2, but nothing else.
It needs to be Going Down by Young Jock.
Thank you.
That's what it needs to be. That
would smack so hard. I mean, we would have 85-year-old fans up and moving to Young Jock. That's a lot. That is a lot.
That's a banger and a half.
The south end zone, all the suite holders, bro, they would come out and party. There'd probably be people on the field. It would get wild. Because we don't do things like that. But we've all been going to Texas games for a long time.
Nash likes Thunderstruck. No.
We love the song Thunderstruck. I mean, it's a classic, but I mean, it's played in DKR far too often for my life.
Yeah, and they play it at the basketball games with the 4-minute warning too. It's like, all right,
sweet. I mean, it's a good song. It used to be our like high school baseball run out song, you know, and so I got over it like by my sophomore year. And here we are, my favorite football team. We're jamming it during a badass light show that we put on in night games. I'm pumped about the light show. I'm a nerd. I like the bands, the lights. Dude, it's all great. I think Michigan has an excellent fight song, one of the classics, and it was cool though not hearing that shit at all on Saturday. You know, there was just no
not hearing it once.
You just, you know, before the game you hear it, and I'm like, oh, what a classic song, classic moment. This is going to be a war, and it wasn't a war, which is great for us. But Peyton, other than the game, or it can be part of the game, other than the score on the scoreboard, what was your favorite part about your trip to Ann Arbor?
Other than the win?
Other than the win, other than the score on the scoreboard.
I was literally there for like 36 hours, in for the game, out for the game. I don't know, but just seeing like, I don't know, is this people talking about this on Twitter? So Friday night I went out with some friends, and Texas people were line dancing on Main Street. Like,
really? I didn't know that.
Oh wait, no one's talking about this? Okay, yeah. I pull up or walk up, and it's like this probably 100 people line dancing in the middle of the street. And I was asking Michigan people, I was like, is this normal? Like, what's going on here? So that was really cool. And then just like every bar was just burnt orange.
All right. Don't know how that happened.
It happens.
Am I back? Okay, cool.
No, we're good. No, my screen on my end was messed up, and I can only see like.
I just said you were muted. I was like, okay, so you want me to stop talking? All right.
No.
The Chappelle show, like the Chappelle show, wrap it up button.
I don't know. I didn't get. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
We can start doing what were the news, this ESPN show or the show on ESPN with all like the sports writers like Woody Page and Bomani Jones around the horn, and it's like we need to do that one week. We'll get a bunch of fans in here and we'll go around the horn.
That Michigan fan.
I don't know a lot about the Big House. Well, I mean, I don't go to the games there, but like I didn't know I saw this on there that said, "Why is the Big House so quiet?" Like was on the screen. I didn't know if that was like in every game for them. Like
they put it on the screen. Why is it so quiet?
It says, "Why is the Big House so quiet?" Some Reddit user.
Oh, that's glorious. I need that. Send that to me, please, because I need that.
And then there was this guy. I'm so sorry. I'm taking up everyone's time.
Oh, you're great. No,
you're killing it.
No, I'm about to go watch. What is it? Monday Night Football. I need a beer. So this guy in front of me was a big Michigan guy, and he was texting his friend, whoever Jeff is, and he's texting his friend Jeff. Texas looks like they're playing Southern Illinois University. Okay, I'm going to be more humbled now. Sark is the brains. Every play is different. Easy throws. They are winners.
I need that soon.
That's awesome.
And I was taking a photo of my family was with me. And they're like, "That's so rude. You're like intruding." I'm like, "This is hilarious."
That's
like,
amazing.
Begging your fans to get loud, like I feel like that's a common thing to do at times in college football games. You know, like maybe sometimes you don't have to, but there's something on the video board or the banner running, something about, you know, make noise or get loud. But like the why is it so quiet? That is hilarious.
Yeah,
it's like
the Big House so quiet with like a Reddit user. I was like, I didn't know if they did that all the time. Like that's weird.
They do Mr. Brightside in the beginning of the fourth quarter or end of the third, right? Is that when they do Mr. Brightside? So shout out Calvin Kirkland. He's pissed at me because of our college football pick'em, but he sent a great video where he's filming Mr. Brightside because it's a cool tradition. And, you know, unfortunately for Michigan, they're getting drugged. So not everyone is fully into it, but there are still Wolverine fans who are having a great time and singing very loud. And this guy beside him is just like, why the hell are we doing this right now? We need to do something. We need to do something on the field. Like he is fully going through it in that moment. And so, I appreciate you guys bringing us the scoops from Ann Arbor because that was a cool scene. All the pictures that were just posted and taken, like I sat there for like last night, probably 45 minutes looking at different threads because there was a billion different pictures. I love the one that I had for the countdown of Jade with the Michigan flags in the background and then his caption, like referencing the Big House, was pretty iconic. So definitely an all around 10 out of 10 experience, but going to go forward. Is there a game on the schedule that like you don't consider Texas to be a favorite in. Obviously, the obvious one is Georgia. Nash, I know how you feel out there, buddy. But how about you guys? Like, you worry about A&M some. I know you just talked about Oklahoma a little bit, Keenan. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, my
first,
perspective, like I live in Dallas, so I just want to beat OU. Like, I'm sick and tired. I live here, so like I have this dark cloud over like where I live. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all my friends come visit me every time for Texas OU, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, we will get a win one of these years. So I hope that, but I'm not like absolutely petrified of it though. But like Georgia, I mean, we beat Michigan, and then after we beat them, everyone's always like, well, they still got Georgia. It's like, can't we just enjoy this one thing for like once, you know?
It is tough. It is tough. How about you, Keenan? Like, other than Oklahoma, I mean, you paid your respect to the Red River rivalry. I can appreciate that. It is a rivalry game that anything can happen in. Does Georgia like scare you anything? How do you think we match up from an early prognosis?
I think this team can beat anybody. I didn't know that coming into this year. I went on that SEC podcast a few weeks ago. I remember, like, during SEC media days, and they asked me if I thought Texas was going to win the SEC, and I said maybe not this year. But, dude, this team is a freaking wagon, dude. Like, every position is loaded, it feels like. I mean, the team speed is on another level, but they're also all huge. Like, I know sometimes it just comes down to who has bigger, faster guys, and I don't see a team other than Georgia that's going to out-physical, out-speed, outrun Texas. I don't see anybody on the schedule that can do that. I'm not scared of A&M. I know it's going to be a big game, but A&M's – I mean, if you watch Notre Dame lose to Northern Illinois on Saturday, that team whooped A&M in the second half of that game. Like, I know it was only a 10-point game, but it might as well have been a 20-point game because it was not close enough at the time. And OU looked awful against a bad Houston. Like, Houston is bad this year. They got blown out by UNLV the week before. I was worried about Kentucky. They got trounced by South Carolina. So that was the one game left that I was like, that's a trap game.
Yeah.
That offense completed 7 passes in that game. And they threw a pick 6. Like, the defense outscored – the South Carolina defense outscored the Kentucky offense in that game. It was 31-6. There's not a game on the schedule that I'm worried about other than Georgia, and I'm not worried about Georgia because that's such a game where it's like, who cares if you lose that game? A close game to Georgia, it doesn't really matter in the long term. It's not the BCS. Like, you're still going to make the playoff. You can still play for the SEC title if you lose that game. They might have to play Georgia 3 times this year. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we are going to.
I do too.
If we play them 3 times, that means that we obviously had a hell of a season because we wouldn't meet them until late in the college football playoff. Assuming that, I don't know. I don't think that the committee, if we played twice, would try to find a way to seed everybody to where we didn't have to see them again for maybe until the title game. But no, I'm with you guys. A lot of confidence. For several of the reasons you said, you look at other teams, OU's offense struggles very badly. I don't think they have time to fix it before we see them. That is a month from now, but I mean, they're really struggling. A&M at the end of the season, I know I expect a dogfight. I still don't see them having the horses to score with us. Just because you combine everything that we had, you talked about the big bodies, the speed. When I think about Texas, if I had to give one word, for the program, it's fast because everybody can fly. Everybody can fly. Blue can fly. Wisner can fly. Jared Gibson's a little bit different at back, obviously, but then you go all the wide receivers, and they can all fly.
Wingo on that one play.
Wingo can fly.
I call it the Xavier Worthy play. Literally the night before or whatever, 2 nights before, did that same thing. I was like,
it's so great that Sark just implements something like that in a couple days and then turns it into a massive play for a 5-star freshman wide receiver who definitely, we want to get involved and make part of the offense. And he finds a very unique way to get him the ball and let him. He should have scored. We got to find a way to score there. But my biggest thing about that play is, like, I expected so much more from Gus Johnson. And we talked about this on the timeline a little today, but his Wingo, like, it didn't hit for me. And I had such high expectations because I'm like a wide receiver guy first. I was a wide receivers coach. I love the wide receivers, the big guys. I don't care if they're prima donnas. Let them act how they want. Catch the ball, run real fast, and I think you're cool. And I just expected Gus to really have a big moment right there because there wasn't a lot of like big time big breakaway plays in that game. And I know, Peyton, you were there, so obviously
that was my side though, and I was like, girl, like I was going crazy, and I knew we were gonna win at that point, but like,
right,
that was sick. And obviously, I can't hear Gus Johnson saying, but like I do love when he does say Texas though, like that is like just
yeah,
the way
it's very unique.
Is perfect, but I didn't hear the way he said Wingo. I didn't know. Yeah.
I think Wingo might be the best receiver on this team by the end of the year. Like right now, it's probably Bond or Golden, but like just from pure talent, maybe not this year, but like when it's all said and done, I think Wingo is going to be the best receiver on this roster. I think Wingo is that level of talent. I think he's better even than the 5-stars they're bringing in next year and Khalil Lockett and Jamie French. Like I think he's one of the best receivers. I think he's one of the best receivers Texas will have ever had. I think he's that level of player. I think that's how good Wingo could be.
It makes my heart happy, man. He's such a big talent, and I know that was a recruitment that went down to the wire, and so I'm nervous about that. Was nervous about Missouri because look at Luther Burden, and a lot of reason at the time for him to stay in state and for him to trust Sark and come on this way. Big pull for Chris Jackson, massive pull. Yeah, and so talk about a guy that's on fire in the recruiting trail. Good on him, good on Sark. But yeah, man, going back to the big bodies, like I think Josh Pate talked about it a little bit, talking about just if you saw Texas line up next to Michigan, talking about our O-line and their D-line, like their D-line is great. But these guys are massive human beings. Like our O-lines look like Alabama and Georgia's for the last, 10, 12 years. They are humongous people. And then you tie all that speed Texas has in. You tie in little backs, not little backs that run hard, but are smaller backs that can hide behind those big bodies and then use that speed. Going back to the original question, I just don't see anybody that really gives me any worry outside of Georgia. And that's a game that you think at worst you probably have like 50-50 shot or 55-45 shot to win that one, depending on the day. I know it'll be a good game. They're a great defense, but it's hard not to be confident. It really isn't. And when you think about playoffs, I don't want to say the word lock, but I'm already, looking at some reservations and whatnot, just seeing what's out there, as far as playoffs go, because we got a really good football team and expectations are high. I just have a hard time seeing us taking, like you said, Kentucky. I don't know. Did y'all see the Will Levis pick 6 that he threw? Yeah. On the sideline? Peyton, did you see it?
No, I didn't see that game at all.
He's running to the left side, to the left sideline, and he's a little past the hash mark, and he's trying to throw the ball away to the sideline, but he shovels it right to a South Carolina player, and then he just goes running down the sideline.
Oh, you mean Brock Vandegrift? I thought you were talking about Will.
Oh, dude,
Titans.
I'm
he
so
threw
sorry.
A pick 6 also.
I'm thinking because he was awful, and I saw his name. Yeah, Kentucky quarterback, not Brock Vandegrift, the Kentucky quarterback.
Both had struggles on Saturday and Sunday.
Tag me on Twitter, please.
I will.
That's very funny.
His Surrender Cobra, was that Levis or was that Vandegrift?
It was Vandegrift who threw that.
What was he the one that did the Cobra? Like he just was on his knees watching him run down the sideline. It was so. He couldn't have made the play most likely, but it was hilarious to see. I'll tag you in it and send it to you. That stuff was funny, but
very funny.
Yeah, Kentucky, Arkansas doesn't have. They don't have the horses, man. Traylon Green's a fun player. That had to hurt.
I cannot wait to beat that ass. I have so many high school friends.
We're not talking about them at all.
I know.
You got beef with Arkansas?
I do, yeah. All my high school buddies went to Arkansas, all of them.
That was my first TV market, so I check in after the. I had no service at the big house, so after I'm checking all these scores, blah blah blah, and they lost to Oklahoma State. I was like, oh jeez.
Thank you, Gage. If that's right.
I guess you're right. But the Kentucky quarterback, the current Kentucky quarterback, also threw a pick 6. That was
a terrible one. Terrible
pick 6. It was so bad. It was what the hell, man?
I thought that'd be a really ugly game, but I didn't expect it to be that ugly.
I thought South Carolina was bad, and it looked like Kentucky's the one who's bad. Because I watched that South Carolina Old Dominion game, and I was like, dude, this offense is so bad, and they figured something out.
True. Did y'all see the SEC shorts today?
Yes.
So those guys are insane. But between the CPR and the resuscitation of the Notre Dame guy from the Aggie, I thought that was that was the only tie-in they had in the whole the episode, but it was a perfect tie-in. And then the Connor Stallions bit at the end. OU talking about not scoring points, and then her just telling him, hey, take 2 Tylenol and hold on. Like that was really well done. They've had a lot of good work. I don't know if I could pick a favorite, but that one I think would be up there, top 3, top 5 at worst.
It was at the tailgate.
I saw, I think Kyle took a photo with him.
I saw him. Well, I mean, I didn't say anything, but I saw him 30 yards away. I was like, oh, he was going around taking photos, selfies.
That guy's I think the thing about Connor Stallions is the main identifier is that he's a huge nerd for Michigan. That's really what he is. He's just a giant dork.
Now listen to me. I'm gonna be honest about myself, but I want your opinion as well. If you were able, would you go to such measures to guarantee success or help success for Texas? Because I'll tell you straight up, I would have no hesitation helping Texas in any way, shape, or form. And I'm mostly speaking about younger me. I mean, I still want us to win pretty dang bad right now, but I trust Sark. We're doing all right.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they need my help. I don't think I'd be very helpful.
But I mean, if you're a program let's say who's forever down, but say you're Baylor, gross. I don't like that one. I don't want to know.
That's a horrible example.
Okay, Houston. You're from Houston, right? Well, U of H. Say you're from U of H. You've been getting, kicked around for decades. Would you consider it? Hey, you're just recording some signs. You're not ultimately hurting anyone. Peyton, you're on board. You see the vision.
Let's say Charlie Strong. I went there. Would I cheat for Charlie Strong, or would I go play? I'm sorry, I shouldn't use the word cheat, but
it's cheating.
It's cheating for sure.
It's cheating.
No, I don't even know. I don't know.
It's a bad question, but I just had to ask it so I could just tell you how shitty of a person I am and tell you that hey.
I would physically break my arm for us to win the Natty this year. Yes, I would do that.
I don't think you're gonna have to, Peyton. I think that might be happening anyway. I really think that. I don't think you need to break your arm, dude. I wouldn't do that if I were you.
The heels are heels. It's fine.
Well, as far as Texas goes, I mean, recruiting at A+, on-field play A+. It's kind of you can't take it for granted, though. You know what I mean? We're expecting big things out of this team. I'm still going to try to slow down, enjoy every Saturday. It's our last year that we have Quinn, and I'm bad about this. I'm okay, let's get to OU and let's beat OU's tails because I don't see a lot of worry, with obviously the next 3 games. By the way, we've got 4 of our next 5 in Austin. The only game that's not in Austin is in Dallas, and we don't leave the state again until October 26th.
That's great.
Vanderbilt game. Yeah, Vandy. And so then we turn around. Yeah, and so it's there you go, Nash. There's my guy. This is what I needed. I needed somebody to make me feel a little better, just a little better about myself.
I don't even know what Nash looks like.
OU fans can tell you. They they blasted our guy last year after the Texas OU game. I didn't know what Nash looked like until that day.
I have no idea what he looks like.
He does a lot of videos.
What's his age is. He's just a figment of my imagination. I love this. So please don't send me a photo. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I like that Nash has now become the actual ghost. I love it, Nash. We're working together, buddy. But no, shout out to you, Nash, man. I appreciate all the videos that you're always, you're posting, and obviously, great work, man. And for somebody that's just content, information, obsessed, and I want to read and see all of it, and it sleeps about 4 hours on average, on a night, which isn't good. I'll probably leave you guys here in the next 10, 15 years or so, but for now, I need all the content, and Nash, you're a big part of that, man. I appreciate it, man. Definitely kind of motivating as well, brother, trying to do some of the things that you do. So, is he talking shit in here? I tell you, something's messed up with my screen. I can't see all the comments now. But
he said he's 29. Is he 29?
Nah, I can't. You told me not to tell you. I mean, so it's funny how the whole Twitter and the avatars and everything work because, I've met a couple people and I played golf, and every time I'm okay, I build up this impression in my head of what someone looks like. I can't help it. I've always just I paint a picture, a very visual guy, and I'm always way off. And I've seen Nash forever, and on Twitter, obviously YouTube and everything. And then last year, OU fans got on him about that game, and I was like, dang, this guy. OU fans need to leave him alone. A man that looks that good is dangerous. So they got to watch out with Nash. Be careful because
that's my boy.
Yeah,
I'll block for my boy.
Hey, any comments? Have you watched any Vandy football this year, Keenan?
Their quarterback's awesome, Diego Pavia. He's like a little Manziel light. He's just kind of running around out there. I forget their coach name's Clark Lay. Yeah. I can't remember how to pronounce it. That dude's doing a great job out there. They're undefeated. I mean, 2-0, but still, Vanderbilt's not typically 2-0. And they took down Virginia Tech, who people were putting in the playoff at certain points, because the ACC, man, what the hell is going on out there? Or out there, because now it's part of California as well. Right. Which doesn't make any sense at all. SMU's a part of it as well. It just makes no sense. But Miami should cakewalk to that championship. I don't know. That's what it feels like to me. Miami feels like the best team in the ACC by a mile. After whipping Florida, they got a great quarterback. I don't know. I think the ACC is really embarrassing, and it's very funny to me.
I posted a video in our little pick'em chat, but it was Cam Ward a few years back, I guess during high school, just really kind of getting in Shador Sanders during a little camp or clinic or something. Yeah. And it's kind of chirping at him about his work ethic and a lot of other things. And it's not that I'm a Colorado hater. I just don't appreciate the arrogance that came out of Boulder, Colorado for absolutely no reason after they won 2 games last year for nothing. And then obviously they've become humbled, and then there's still a lot of offseason talk. And so it's not that I hate Colorado. I actually love the program. It's just this isn't my favorite regime. And so watching Cam kind of get at Shador a little bit, I'm rooting for Miami a little more, is all I'll say. I was like, Cam.
Yeah, me too. I
kind of a dog. Yeah, a little bit of a dog.
And Damian Martinez is a hell of a back too.
Yeah, I mean, Vanderbilt 2-0. I loved in the SEC shorts. They were holding the clipboards in the hallway, and they were like, "Is anybody playing good around here?" And then they have him like stripping through
with a or whatever.
He's got the crown on.
I was crying at that moment. I mean, they absolutely kill it, and it helps when you win a game. I'm like so much anticipating their videos to come out, because I know they're probably gonna flame my rivals if one of them lost and we won. But if you lose, I'm like, dang, I'm going to have to wait until Wednesday or Thursday to watch it. Let it boil over for a couple of days.
Let that take the sting out of it a little bit.
Just a little bit. I know last year, having to watch the one after the Oklahoma game, that hurt like hell, because, I mean, I didn't want to do anything after that one. Like you said, Keenan, it's about time that we end this. It's our time to go on a run. Like you said.
Yeah, 15. That's what I'm thinking. They should win 2 or 3 straight. They really should. Given the rosters at this point, given the recruiting, I mean, it really is not looking good for OU. Also, Texas flipped Myron Charles on Saturday. I think that's pretty notable. Florida State defensive tackle commit, Florida State commit, and he was just like, yeah, I don't want to play for Florida State. No. Nah, I'm out on this. I'm out on this program. And I just saw this other team go up to Michigan. I mean, obviously that wasn't the only reason. There was a lot of reasons why he flipped, but you have to think the timing had something to do with the Michigan game.
Yeah. I mean, Florida State game, or Florida State first couple of weeks, Michigan game. I mean, it all makes sense really, really quickly, and it's not going to be the last Florida State player to decommit. And they just had Javen Henson decommit as well.
Hilson, yeah.
Hilson, so sorry, yes. But yeah, so it's rough times over there. I mean, there's a lot of sharks in the waters in Florida all the time as far as recruiting goes. And so Florida and Florida State, man, if they suffer, everybody's going to reap the benefits from that. Miami's going to probably get a couple kids. Yep. I'm so curious to see what happens with Florida just because of Napier, but now you have DJ Lagway. Talking about A&M Florida just for a minute, if you would, do you care about that game at all? For one, you're going to watch, but for two, do you think Florida can salvage your season at all with DJ at the helm?
They already said they're going back to Mertz. I thought. I'm pretty sure that they.
Wait, are you serious?
I'm pretty sure they said they're going to stick with the plan.
I saw a tweet about that, and I assumed it was satirical.
No, I'm pretty sure they're going back to Mertz. Billy Napier is just doing the get fired speed run.
I'm looking at it. Okay, got it.
It's real. That is insane. Well, disregard that. Next time I'll actually know what I'm talking about before we get on here.
No, that's any normal human being would assume you roll with the hot hand and the guy who's a 5-star badass quarterback instead of the guy who struggled in week 1. But Billy Napier's not everybody, I guess.
What's the point in playing DJ in week 2? Was Graham banged up?
I think it had something to do with that. I don't know. I just heard on a podcast that they're pretty sure they're going to go back with Mertz again. I don't know. Lagway set like a freshman record for passing yards or something, too.
I mean, dude, he threw a couple dots from downtown. Like,
he's a beast, dude. Lagway's a beast, and he's the only thing that could save Napier's job. It's the only thing. I do, of course, hope they beat A&M because that's so funny.
I bet it could be one of the things where Graham, maybe Mertz was a little banged up, or maybe whatever it is. I bet the leash is uber short. Couple bad series against A&M, and he's like, hey, we still got a chance to win this game because it's not like A&M's been super impressive on offense. I know Connor Wigman had a lot better week 2, but you're playing McNeese State, not Notre Dame, so it's like we'll see. But I don't know. I feel like an idiot for one because I should have looked into that, but that makes me also think that Billy Napier is a little bit of the same line that I am. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, he's not the best coach, that guy.
That is crazy. Well, I don't really think that I have anything else, guys, as far as recapping anywhere across college football goes. Anything or any topics or any games that y'all want to bring up?
Nash tagged me in all these interception things that y'all were talking about, so I'm good. I'm ready.
You ready?
I know what we're talking about.
No, man. I mean, the only other we talked about most of the games I was interested in. The only one that was interesting was Oregon Boise State, but Ashton Genty's a hell of a running back, man.
A lot of fun to watch, man. It's another thing. Like it's so easy to take the game and the sport for granted because it all just moves so fast, and you're worried about your own teams. Those generational running backs, man, those guys are so cool, so fun to watch. And it doesn't matter what defense he's faced so far. He's ran through everybody.
He's torch everybody, yeah. 197 yards, I think, 3 touchdowns.
And obviously I don't know the totals in week 1 against Georgia Southern. I just know he ran and then he kept running for 4 hours. And
he had 270 and 6 touchdowns.
270 and 6 touchdowns. That's pretty tough. Keenan, if you were up against the Georgia Southern defense right now and you were asked to get 1 yard on an inside zone carry, not a chance?
Not even
a chance?
Would I have a chance at that? Hell no. I couldn't do that in middle school ball, dude. Come on now. Middle school ball. Tough enough, dude. Come on.
I was very finesse quarterback. Probably wanted no part of the run game. Would have had happy feet. Got out of that situation. I was a wide
receiver in a corner. I was not prepared to run between the tackles. Let's just say that.
I do like when, like average Joes like myself are like, oh, yeah, I could have ran that touchdown in, or I could have scored right here. I could have made that kick. Brother, no, you couldn't have. You line up for a 25-yard field goal, you're not making shit. Maybe if we let you, kick it from straight back, like old school style, give you like a steel toe boot or something. But
right.
You haven't taken those steps. You haven't kicked in a long time.
No.
I couldn't do anything that I probably used to do 15 years ago. But hey, we had those memories and they were fun. And so I don't blame some guys for thinking they still got it. It is what it is. But
yeah.
All right, guys.
Go have us on after OU so we can let it all out.
Yes, I agree with that. We should definitely do that.
And I won't shut up.
We won't. I will not be shutting up. Well, I hope you won't either.
Will not pause for other people to talk.
You're gonna have to keep muting. You're gonna have to mute Peyton and I back and forth.
That's when we can do our around the horn.
I told you. After OU.
We'll do around the horn and we'll just slander the ever living hell out of Oklahoma after we pile drive them. That's how. Nash, you in? Nash, are you out there and are you in?
Nash, we'll do around the horn us 4.
Nash, and hey, first off, you're 176 people watching on Twitter. Go to my profile, click the link. Please go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are having, 5, 6, 7 shows a week. Most of y'all are watching on Twitter, and I appreciate it. I've been trying to do a few videos just on YouTube. I did the interview with the episode with the Michigan guy earlier because I'm trying to get you guys to move over that way a little bit. So if you don't mind, I don't care if you never watch on YouTube again. Just go subscribe real quick. Maybe throw a like or 2 on the videos because my guests are awesome. We've had some insanely good guests. And if Nash told me if I pay him enough, he'll come on too. So Go subscribe. We'll get Nash on here eventually. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. I really enjoyed talking to you both. I appreciate y'all coming back. I would love to have you back post Oklahoma, before Oklahoma, whenever y'all want to do it. Cool. All right, guys. Well, hook 'em horns. I think a lot to be excited about. National title aspirations. And with that, we sign off. Later, guys. Hold on one second.
Bye.
Bye.
I need to go drink a beer after that.
Yeah. It's time for Monday Night Football.
Okay, sweet.